Podcast Network. This is the Lifestyle Live Podcast.
Faces you know and a team you can trust. Stories that form your heart. Lifestyle Live. Lifestyle Live.
Immerse yourself in the world of real-life mysteries, cold cases, and intense investigations, starting with a case that hits close to home. On this Lifestyle Live podcast episode, we learn about Crime Nation, the CW Network's inaugural true crime and justice anthology series, and how it's exploring the tragic 2017 murders of Delphi, Indiana teens Abby Williams and Libby German. Each 2-hour episode will feature ripped from the headline stories, exclusive interviews, and new details about riveting true crime cases. This is the Lifestyle Live podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
Lifestyle Live. Lifestyle Live.
Police were giving out so little information in the early days, and the big question everyone had was, who did this? Was it someone passing through? Is it someone who knew the girls?
A lot of people are scared. People are watching their backs, locking their houses when they maybe didn't used to.
It's horrifying, and it's not the Indiana that I know. This person got to be caught.
Police weren't releasing a lot of information, but behind the scenes, the manhunt was definitely on.
It is called Crime Nation, and it goes behind the headlines of some of the most shocking crimes, including, as you saw there, the Delphi murders. The new docuseries premieres tonight at 8 p.m. on Wish TV. Ashley Banfield, host of Banfield on News Nation, is a contributor and joins us right now for a preview. Ashley, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Amber. Thanks for having me.
Hi, thank you. As you know, as we've been talking about the Delphi murders, that hits home for Hoosiers right here where we are in Indianapolis. So tell us what we can expect with Crime Nation and more so that episode in particular.
Sure. Well, let's start here because I know that people in Indianapolis are very, very engaged with this story. It is near and dear to everyone's hearts. And it's hard to believe this. Yeah. But Abby Williams would be 20 years old today, and Libby German would be 21. Wow. It's just like when you hear that, it brings you full circle on what happened 7 years ago to these two girls and the fact that we don't have resolution yet, right? We've got Richard Allen sitting in jail, waiting for his trial this fall, but we don't have resolution to a story that's now 7 years old, to a story that took two young teenage girls, barely teenagers, right? 13 and 14. They would be into their 20s now. It's a long time to wait for justice. It's also a long time to sort of be able to look back, and that's what Crime Nation is doing. We are taking a look back at these crimes that transfixed the nation. Indianapolis, yes, but the rest of the nation fell in love with these girls as well, and they want justice for these girls as well. And with the advent of time, all of a sudden, new voices come forward, new information comes forward, new narratives are available. And we've discovered that there are a lot of people who don't believe necessarily we may have the right guy behind bars waiting for trial. So that's what News Nation does every night at 10 on my show, and this is what Crime Nation is doing Tuesdays on the CW, the deep dive into these very big stories to see if maybe we missed something.
Ashley, time is a funny thing, because when you said that 21 years old, I actually had to look back at the date because I questioned myself thinking, has it really been that long? And it has been that long. Obviously, we follow us here at Wish TV with the local news reports about what is going on in the latest developments. But when it comes to Crime Nation, will there be new exclusive reporting on the case? Will we learn things that perhaps we haven't heard or hear from neighbors that we haven't heard from? What can we expect on that specifically?
Absolutely. In fact, we were able to track down the former girlfriend of the very first person that was the person of interest in this case. And it's the landowner, the place where Abby and Libby were discovered dead. His name's Ron Logan. And he was a person of interest and didn't sit well with a lot of investigators. The things that he said, the things that he did, it was just odd. And a lot of arrows were pointing to Ron Logan being perhaps a suspect. He was never named as a suspect, and Ron Logan ended up dying. But now we have interviewed his girlfriend. And And the things that his girlfriend says about Ron Logan made me shake my head. I got to be honest, it was pretty jaw-dropping. And I think that's going to be jaw-dropping for a lot of the audience as well. Plus, we've also looked at the community of Delphi and how social media has really just driven a massive wedge through that community, unlike any other community and crime that we have followed. And it's really tragic to see how many people have just fallen out because of finger pointing and suspicions. It's just sort of it's one of those dynamics that's been really devastating. And again, 7 years is a long time for a lot of deep-seated animosity to form.
It really is. Well, we thank you so much for being here. I know that there are going to be a lot of other cases that you guys are going to cover the audiences can expect on Crime Nation. Again, premiering tonight at 8 p.m. on Wish TV. Ashley Banfield, thank you so much for your time and for continuing to do what you do. We appreciate it.
Lifestyle Live. Lifestyle Live.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Lifestyle Live Podcast. Thank you for listening. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And connect for even more on Facebook and at lifestylelive.tv.
Faces you know and a team you can trust. Stories that form your heart.